Okay, here we are. It is Friday, October 24th. Movie Reviews and More, Brian Sebastian, Debbie, Lynn, Elias, from Movie Shark De Beer.
Movie Shark what? It sounded like Movie Shark De Beer. It could be
De Bloor, Movie Shark De Bloor. I did say that.
Okay, I'll take De Beer if it means De Beer or if it means De Beer Diamonds. That's
what I was thinking of, De Beer Diamonds, for some strange reason.
Either one works for me.
We got a busy show again today. And you weren't here last week because you were doing things, which come up next week.
No, those things will come up the week after.
November 7th.
November 7th. We have a lot of Disney goodness on November the 7th.
We have David Spaltro. We have Joya Delaney calling in. And we have, who I can't wait to hear, your exclusive interview.
My exclusives. Well, David's actually pretty exclusive, too. An incredible director, and this is the first project that the two of us have our names attached to together. So it's going to...
And you finally get a chance to talk about it.
Yes, I do. And the fact I get to talk about it with him just makes it even better. But first, I'm going to talk about an event that's happening in LA this weekend. It is one of the coolest events that I have had the privilege to be involved with and in quite a while. It is a benefit to fund the Actors Fund. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what the Actors Fund is, I did an interview with Joanne Worley and with Davis Gaines. Now, Joanne Worley, you may all remember from Laugh-In. She also has an extensive musical theater background. Davis Gaines, Phantom of the Opera. He holds the record. He's done over 2,000 performances as the Phantom in L.A. He has also toured, and in addition playing Phantom, on occasions he's played Raoul. He's done Broadway. Two incredible people, and they have come together under the direction of David Galligan for this Cabaret is Alive and Well and Living in Los Angeles. It's a 4-night, 4-concert, 4-venue.
And a lot of people don't know about that either.
People don't know about it. And the whole idea is you're going to hear from some of the biggest and brightest stars that have graced the silver screen and the Broadway stage over the years, and all to benefit the Actors Fund. And the Actors Fund, a lot of people don't realize when actors, and not just in front of the camera, or in front of the curtain on stage, everybody in the entertainment business, those behind the camera, you need help. You have trouble with your rent. You need food. You have dancers' injuries. Bebe Newworth is actually on the board of the Actors Fund and created a whole subsection for dancers. They can come for help. They can come for doctors. An incredible, amazing organization that actually came out of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. It was founded back in June of 1882 by this young man, John Wilkes Booth, had given actors such a bad name, and this was a young man, Harrison Gray Fisk, who loved the theater and loved actors, and he used to write for the New York Dramatic Mirror. There was an opportunity for one-third of the paper to be bought. His dad bought it, put him in charge, and through the money and earnings of the paper, he established the Actors Fund. It is now one of the oldest charitable nonprofit organizations in the United States today, designed to help the acting and performing community.
And occasionally you hear about a lot of actors donating to it. It's almost like, I remember Tom Hanks did it a couple years ago. It's like really low-key. They just do it. They don't really want to have a lot of publicity
It's
sometimes.
Very low-key. They did 2 big fundraisers over the past decade or so, Night of 100 Stars, Night of 200 Stars. But then we have this revolutionary new idea, which is this cabaret format. So I talked to Joanne Worley to get an idea of what the Actors Fund is, in her eyes, being an actor.
Yes, I think that, as a matter of fact, I have been surprised. Several of friends have said, oh, yes, I remember when I was starting out in the business, whatever, I benefit from Actors Fund. So it has been around, for a long time and doing all kinds of good things, as you just said, on many levels, and for not just the people on stage and in front of the camera, but for everyone.
Joanne was fun to talk to, wasn't she?
Joanne was a delight to talk to, and everybody will find out all the great stories that she told me later today and over the weekend. Excerpts of my full interview with her will be up on moviesharkdeblore.com, audio and in print. so people can hear all about bats flying into wigs and skunks spraying on stage and theater evacuations, and how Jerry Lewis influenced her career, which is a great story in and of itself. But given that this was all about cabaret, and a lot of people don't really know what a cabaret is, I asked Joanne how would she define what a cabaret is for today's audience.
It's a different kind of a world we live in now, as you well know. And I have a book in front of me called Intimate Nights by James Gavin, which is about the cabaret scene in New York City, which is where, I got some of my chops working in the Greenwich Village nightclubs and things like that. Then they were called nightclubs. But it was always, cabaret. And because of, obviously, the movie and the musical cabaret, that word is more familiar to people than nightclubs. Nightclubs don't necessarily mean entertainment, but cabaret does.
It's funny. I always think of Joanne with the boa thrown around her
With
neck.
the boa, she was on Laugh-In.
Yeah.
But she took that same kind of persona and she took it into musical theater. She's played Hello Dolly. She's played Auntie Mame. She took over the Ethel Merman role from Call Me Madam on the stage. So an incredible woman. I just adore her. And she's actually going to be performing with a group of wonderful ladies, many of whom I know, on Saturday night. Their portion of this cabaret event is called a Cabaret Celebration, and it's at Tom Rolla's Gardenia in West Hollywood. And she'll be performing with Mary Jo Catlett, Carol Cook, Nancy Dussault, Sally Kellerman,
Love
Charlotte
Sally.
Ray, and some other ladies. Absolutely lovely. But kicking off this 4-night event tonight at the Catalina Jazz Club on Sunset in Hollywood, we're going to have Davis Gaines, the Phantom. Just talking to him, I just wanted to die. And Davis also echoes Joanne's sentiments about the Actors Fund.
Yeah, they do great things for people in need, and it's kind of a quiet charity because they help actors and like you said, everybody else that works in the business when they need it most, and all we have to do is ask for help, and they're there. So it's an amazing organization.
That's a good fun.
It's an incredible fund. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine who works at the backstage part-time as bartending, as most young actors do.
Yeah.
And Liz actually was saying it just totally slipped her mind. She had been in a severe bicycle accident earlier in the year, broke her nose, now needs plastic surgery on her lip, and it didn't occur to, and she was out of work for quite a while, and it didn't occur to her. She said, it totally slipped my mind. The Actors Fund.
Well, what's the requirements? Because I don't even know. I'm not an actor, so I don't know.
The Actors Fund, it's for film, theater, TV, music, opera, dance, in front of the camera, in front of the stage, behind, and you can submit to them. You can go to their website, the Actors Fund. I think it's .org. They have a Twitter, at the Actors Fund. Just a great organization for those in the entertainment industry. But now, tonight, there are still tickets available. You can go to, brownpapertickets.com, and you can see Davis Gaines at the Catalina Jazz Club. And he talked also about what cabaret is to him.
Yeah, I think it's one of the first times it's ever been done like this before, but leave it to Galligan to come up with something really interesting and cool and diverse, and every night's different, obviously, and with different kinds of people and different kinds of music. So I think it's going to be really fun for LA to go out and see a different event every night.
So, moving on then to Sunday night, the theme is Perfect Harmony. It will be at the Rockwell Table and Stage, which is in Los Feliz. The incredible Jason Gray is going to be performing songs of Jerry Herman. That tickets are also available for. And then Monday, the 4-night event wraps up with classic Broadway songs of Stephen Schwartz, which will be upstairs at Vitello's in Studio City. And it's being hosted by one of my favorite daytime actresses, Carolyn Hennessy. Those General Hospital fans out there, you will know her as Legal Eagle Diane Miller. An incredible 4 nights. Tickets are still available for tonight, for Sunday, for Monday. And as you can see, Hollywood, West Hollywood, Los Feliz, Studio City, it's all over the place. So, you looking for something to do this weekend? We've got it. But before we move on to movies, David Galligan, many people in the entertainment industry know what a talent he is, what a great producer he is. So I tried to get an idea if he would disclose to me what songs and what performances might be in store for people tonight at the Catalina Jazz Club. And here is what Davis Gaines had to say.
David's really great about choosing songs, but he also lets us choose what we want to do. So I think people are going to do their best. Everybody's going to sing their best tune, or a tune that has something to tell, the story to tell, or to show off their voice, or whatever they do. But in a cabaret, it's not about so much the vocalness sometimes, because it's a much more intimate situation than a large theater. It's more about the connection with the audience. So I think people will pick songs that will connect with the audience in an intimate way.
So, this weekend, everybody can come to the cabaret because cabaret is alive and well and living in Los Angeles.
You need to support the arts.
We've talked about this before.
A lot of people in Los Angeles don't.
Everybody needs to support the arts. We need to support them professionally. We need to support them in schools. The arts are very, very important in terms of history. I mean, here, the Actors Fund stems out of a very significant historical event.
Absolutely.
So, there, we've given you something to do this weekend. So, go out there and do it and have a good time, have a few drinks, get gussied up and experience the cabaret experience.
It kind of sounds like fun doing it that way.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and tickets are not expensive. I think they're around $40 or $50. But again, you can go to brownpapertickets.com and have some fun the next few nights. So,
we saw a movie the other night.
We did. And
I liked it.
We're going to start with that movie.
John Wick.
Keanu
Reeves.
Keanu is back.
I didn't expect a lot from this movie. I didn't like the trailer. But believe me, I love this movie. I want to go see it again.
John Wick, Keanu is back. Keanu is absolutely killer in this movie. It is phenomenal fun. I was curious to see what the co-directors, David Leitch and Chad Stahelski, did with the film. They are both stuntmen, and we all know about me and the stunt.
The fight scenes in this, the way everything is done as a martial artist, I was looking at it from that point of view. Excellent. You don't get any better than this.
No. Well, Chad actually he's a champion kickboxer. He's been a stunt coordinator and a stuntman for decades. Red 2, Wolverine, Catching Fire, The Mechanic with Jason Statham, and we all know Jason's prowess with kickboxing and with the martial arts. Stallone has used Chad numerous times on the 2008 Rambo, Expendables 2. I mean, just amazing guy. David, same thing. David, Brad Pitt's stunt double, going all the way back to Fight Club. So David's got a little wealth of experience under his belt too. So they know how to execute the stunts. I was curious as to how they would put it all together with Derek Kolstad's story. And Derek Kolstad, for those who don't know, he's had 2 smaller films, The Package with Dolph Lundgren and Steve Austin, and one in the Chamber. Again, action film. So you put these 3 action people together, and the result is just
and women will like
mind-blowing.
this too. I mean, it's got a great story to it. It's got meaning to it. There's a reason why he does a lot of things.
And it has a very cute little dog.
I know. It got me on the dog. This is through Lionsgate Summit Entertainment, so I think they've got a hit on this one. So
I really think so. And cinematographer Jonathan Sela, who did A Good Day to Die Hard, the last in the Die Hard series, the cinematography is beautiful. It's slick, it's hyper stylized, and it gives you kind of a graphic noir kind of feel. This is at the top of my list for this week. John Wick is a winner in my book, and I think in yours too.
Absolutely. It's exhilarating, it's exciting, it's entertaining, and it's emotional.
And there is a lot of very graphic violence. We're just saying, we're warning you.
But it's shot well, and it just adds to the story in it, in my view.
That's exactly it. Nothing is gratuitous. There is a purpose to everything that happens within the film. So that's my number one pick of the week this week.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing film. And we've got a few smaller films this week, and then one as a nice precursor to Halloween, Stonehurst Asylum. Have you seen that one?
No, I didn't know. No.
Oh, Stonehurst Asylum, Kate Beckinsale, Jim Sturgis, Sir Ben Kingsley, Sir Michael Caine.
Ah, you told me about that one.
And it stems from a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, The System of Dr. Tar and Professor Feather. This is directed by Brad Anderson, a script by Joe Gangemi.
Oh, I like him. Okay,
Yes.
that's enough to get me to see it.
That's a good, and it's a mashup here. You've got everything from Hitchcockian suspense to period drama to bloody horror to romance and even some very macabre humor. And it's set within an asylum, and it really is a case of the loonies taking over the loony bin. And it's all the twists and turns and the developments that we see unfold and the psychological intrigue of each of these characters. And the subtext is really wonderful in that it has you asking yourself the question, who's crazy and who's sane? And what is sanity?
It's a good question.
So, I mean, it's beautifully, beautifully shot. It really celebrates the whole Victorian 1899 England. The architecture is just magnificent. There are high windows, high ceilings, dark woods, ornate carving, and
Is it in limited release?
it's in limited release right
Okay.
now. But that means it is in LA. That's for certain.
And most likely New York.
And New York. And just to see Ben Kingsley and Michael Caine together,
Yeah.
well worth the price of admission. Let me tell you. And Brendan Gleeson also pops up again. Brendan's having a busy year this year with The Grand Seduction, with Cavalry. This one, and then I think he's got one more coming out before year's end. So, another very worthwhile movie. It will get you in the mood for Halloween next week. And it'll open you up to a relatively unknown cinematographer, Thomas Yatsko.
Yep, I know that name.
So,
Good work on him.
see it. So, you got two winners this week. And then we have some smaller films that are popping up.
And we'll have to get back to that in a minute.
And when we come back, we might have David Spaltro on the line.
This is Movie Reviews and More. We'll be right back. All right, this Movie Reviews and More. We are back. And online, we're going to talk about Citizen 4. But you know what? We got David on the line here right now. David, are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Is that my beloved David?
Oh, that's an beloved intro.
You like how she said that, huh?
Right, beloved. I was like, hey, that's not too shabby for end of the week.
David knows I hold him in such high regard. I have so much respect for him as a writer, as a director, as a filmmaker. And I just adore him. And I am so thrilled that he could call in today because
It's my pleasure.
because of the world premiere of The Cat's Cradle.
Yeah, we're down in Minnesota. It's premiering at the 5th Twin Cities Film Festival in St. Louis Park tonight, I think 6 o'clock.
Yep.
That's got to be exciting, huh?
Yeah, it was great. It was a nice, I hadn't done a short in a very long time after I'd done 2 features. So when Tawny Sorensen, she's the lead actress, and she kind of wrote the script as a one-act play a few years ago, and we've become friends. And she'd given it to me about doing it. I helped her workshop it into a script for a short, and she asked me to do it, and I really loved the piece. So it was a lot of fun to kind of go in, quick and dirty, and work with some good actors, and just create something again. So it was a lot of fun.
I love the way that you mentioned that you said quick and dirty, because the category that our film is in, or the
Yes,
presentation. Tell Brian and our audience.
Love, lust, and I believe loneliness is the third.
Oh, that's interesting.
One of the short blocks.
Hey, how tough was this to get this done? What was that like?
I've worked on low budget features before and other small projects, and this was actually a joy. I mean, the team was so good. We had a lot of support. You know, they raised the money. It was a lot of fun because everybody who was in it really believed in it and really wanted to be part of it. You know what I mean? And that just made, like, anything that had to do with money or time. Yeah.
How tough was Debbie to work with?
How tough was it to...
How tough was Debbie to work with? That's what I want to know.
Debbie was a joy. Debbie came in and
that's not what I wanted to hear.
No.
Continue.
I don't think I've ever seen. Maybe because I'm beloved. I haven't seen Debbie's wild side or angry side.
No, we were behaved in the bar in Culver City.
This is true. We might be the only people who were behaved in a bar in Culver City, but this is true.
We were very professional.
You know, the good thing about this, I'm glad, you know, anytime anybody works on a film, first of all, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not a director, I'm not an actor, but I appreciate what people go through because it's so hard to get these things done and to get them out there for people to see.
It is, and I think you have to be really passionate about the whole process. You know, I think if you don't actually love the work that goes into it, or the project you're working on, you have to really like. Like I've been offered to do other smaller things, and you know, as much as I love making films, if it doesn't speak to me, knowing how much work it takes, it doesn't appeal to me. But you know, it could be the lowest budget or the hardest thing in the world, but if it's something that speaks to me, that I care about, that I know the people involved are going to give it their all, and it's going to be a quality thing, then I'll bleed for it. And this was one of those projects that I was like, oh my God, no matter how busy I am, I'm like, I want to do this, and I'll learn from it, and I'll grow from it. And it was a joy to work with everybody involved in it.
And it's very funny because that's David and I. This is how we actually met several years ago, when he reached out to me as a critic to would I review one of his films,
which is what most people do to you anyhow. Yes,
but that's where. That's where Debbie and David started.
The D&D show.
Sorry, that was our origin.
That's
our origin, our summer of love.
The D&D show.
And I have to say, you know, it's a real joy. Somebody like Debbie, who is so knowledgeable and so, you know, when she says she really enjoys your work, or when you as a person, you know that she's being honest.
Well, that's true.
I feel like if I wasn't sure, she'd tell me the other thing.
She would.
So to have her support be so genuine with the work I've done, you know, in her reviews of it. But then later on, like seeing other work we've done and being so supportive behind it, you know, to get on as a producer, it's a really great feeling, and it's very genuine. So it's kind of an honor and a privilege.
Oh, stop it. It's just, I'm so thrilled to actually have our name on something together, and I want us to work on a feature
absolutely
soon. But you know, one of the great things about David, and having worked with several other directors with me in the producing capacity, I got to say, David knows how to direct. He knows how to edit. But it's all the prep, and it's his communication skills. He's got a budget that is planned out, that is marked out. Script, here, read the script. Oh, got any ideas on the script? Oh, here's some dailies. Here, take a look at some shots.
I like that.
And I have not had that same experience with other directors. So I'll work with David any day of the week on anything.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. I mean, I think the sad thing is out there, especially in the indie film world now, because you know it's kind of the wild, wild west with new technology and people being able, and distribution being all over the place. But people don't realize that being like one of the best teachers I had, they said being a filmmaker as opposed to just being a director. A filmmaker is somebody that like, look, I'll never be a DP, but I understand about the lights. You know, maybe I'm not the best editor, but I know you have to know all the different aspects, and also just all the different aspects of making films, whether it's raising the budget, you know, what a budget is, raising the money, or marketing a film. And instead of being scared of it, or, you know, like I'm an artist and I can't get into the business world, kind of making, you know, the whole process fun and interesting for you and being informed. And then you have more latitude and more control as an artist and as you know, as your vision, you know, and not being so scared of it. And I think people forget that this is like a social business, you know. I mean, it's not just, schmoozy networking, but like, you know, people aren't just going to see your film, they're going to see you. You're expressing hopefully part of yourself in your work. So part of that, you know, and how you connect to your audience, that, you know, it's all part of it.
Well, and to see a really cool part of David's work, people are going to have to wait a little while. I've already seen some sneak peeks of his feature film he just wrapped shooting last week.
Yeah, we just finished a horror film for Seven Oaks Film. My first time working for somebody else on feature level. So it was a fast turnaround. It was a producer who wanted to make a horror film, hired me to write and direct it back in March, and we were on set by October. And we just wrapped last week. So
That's pretty quick.
Fast
That's good.
turnaround, but it was a lot of fun and a lot of a good learning experience.
And I know you just started post on that.
Literally today. Literally, like, I'm taking a break so that I can chat to my beloved Debbie and her audience. So,
David, what's one last question? So, what can happen tonight? It's tonight, right?
It's tonight, the world premiere.
tonight,
What time? What
Tonight.
theater?
the world premiere of The Cat's Cradle at the Twin Cities Film Festival in St. Louis Park at 6 o'clock as part of the Love, Lust, and Loneliness short block.
And we could even win something.
It's true.
It's possible,
true.
yeah.
I would not be surprised. And I think before this film is done touring the festival circuit, we've got a lot of places to go.
Oh, my
I think there are definitely somebody's shiny trophies for everybody.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, things I don't understand. How many shiny trophies do you have on that one?
Oh gosh, I think we did like over 46 festivals. We won a lot. We did a really good festival run. It was great.
Jeez.
Yes, I don't deal with slouches. What is it? Brian has.
Well, I got to meet him.
This bemused.
I
look
like
on
him,
his
but I
face.
got to meet him now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll come out. I'll be out in LA soon, so I'll say hello.
Okay.
Well, when you come out, you can come in and come in live.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Please do.
Awesome.
And bring one of your
Awesome.
your mini trophies in so I can see it.
I will. There's one I literally wear around my neck like I'm in Run DMC, so I'll bring in that one.
Oh, good
That's
God.
a good thing. Good. I want to see that one.
And here I thought it was a lavalier mic, but you know.
No.
David, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in, and we have to have you
thank
in.
you, guys.
And I want to see
Yeah.
that. I want to see the thing around your neck too. I got to see that.
That might be the perfect way to sign off. I want to see the thing around your neck.
Thank you, my darling.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. You have a great day.
And
Thank
good
you so
luck
much.
tonight too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Bye. Oh, that's nice. So I can't wait to see this.
Yes, well, after the premiere tonight, I will see if some kind of screening link might be arranged for you.
Now we're on to Citizen 4.
Oh, we're going to do Citizen 4 now, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, Citizen 4. The jury's divided on this one, people.
It sure is. And for those people who don't know about it, it's an Edward Snowden doc. It's very interesting. I saw it with 30 people at the 8 o'clock screening room, and it was kind of hush-hush, I thought. And I'm not an Edward Snowden fan. I think he's a traitor. That's just my opinion. But I did like the movie. I liked how it was shot. I thought what she did with it was interesting in my point of view. Now, you've got a different point of view, and yours makes sense, too.
Well, it's directed by Laura Poitras, who we all know her work, The Oath, Flag Wars.
Uh-huh. This is her trilogy film.
This is the part of her trilogy film. What happened was Edward Snowden reached out to her. Allegedly. And I say allegedly because it's his word, her word.
Yeah.
So the lawyer inside has to... I'm trying to balance and be fair here. Laura went. She also brought in journalist Glenn Greenwald. They met with Snowden in Hong Kong for 8 days in June of 2013, just before all of the documentation about the NSA and surveillance, before everything broke and, shit hit the fan all over the world. Yes, the documentary is very well done, but going in what the point of view is. There is no balance here. I felt very manipulated. I think, yes, all the documentation needs to be out there. It should not be hidden. It should not be kept secret. The American public has a right to know. And we have a right not to be censored, not to have our privacy invaded. There's so many complex constitutional issues here. But there's also the issue, as you mentioned, Snowden is a traitor. There are loopholes in the law that skirt criminal aspects with given the right argument.
Yeah.
But the documentary completely ignores the illegality of what Snowden has done. There's a brief comments, I could get arrested. If I get arrested, I get arrested. But throughout the film, everything that is captured, Snowden, while he claims no personal aggrandizement, he's almost braggadocious when he talks about he can hack into anyone's records anytime, anywhere, no matter what kind of security, no matter what kind of encryption there is. It's not, and the tone of his voice speaks very loudly. His body language speaks very loudly. He does a lot of Johnny Depp turns and mugging to the camera, which I find very disingenuous.
Yeah, you didn't like that. See, what I liked about this was I wasn't really paying attention to him. I was trying to look through it looking through the film through her eyes as she was shooting this. That's what intrigued me.
Mm-hmm. Well, as she was shooting it, but there again, it felt very manipulated. He reached out to her. She comes with film and a journalist. You reach out to somebody allegedly because you want to let the media, such as somebody like Glenn Greenwald, let them decide what should be disseminated, what shouldn't be disseminated. You don't have to film it. You don't have to mug for the camera.
Yeah, if I was her, I would want to film it. So that's why I'm looking at it through her eyes.
Well, and yeah, if you're invited to the party, yeah, go for it, film it. But at the same time, you have to question. What is the purpose? What is his reasoning for wanting you to come and do this? What is his reasoning for contacting you? Because you will embrace the puffery that he is. Because I just watching him and listening to him, I don't believe for a minute that this was not done for personal recognition of some sort. This was kind of a in your face, look what I did, I broke your code.
And that's enough to make people go out and see it for themselves. This is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
This is Movie Reviews and More. We'll be right back. Joy Delaney will be calling in, and Debbie's got 3 more movies to talk about.
Yes, we do.
We'll be right back. All right, this is Movie Reviews and More with Debbie, Lynn, Elias from movie Shark de Vloer. And on the line we have Joy Delaney calling in, joyadelaney.net.com. Joya, you there?
Yes, hi.
Hello, Joya. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. We got to talk about who you are, first of all. Joy Delaney is an international spiritual healer and teacher, and who works with archangels and embodies the goddess of energies. And you actually like movies. You're a movie lover, too. You work on a lot of people, but I like the fact of all the stuff that you've done to help people, whether it be people, animals, the situations, and things that have been bothering them and bugging them in the past. Talk about those issues.
Well, I would say that shamanism is coming back in a big way now, and the reason is that the way the system is in the universe right now is that it's pushing up all of our issues, and we have layers. Being a human being, there's just so many layers within our soul, and so as a result of us kind of ignoring our soul and then working on physical things and outside beauty and, maybe cutting out something or medicating something down. There's so many cancers and so many diseases and so much disturbance spiritually in the world, including the weather. And it is so out of control that we really have no choice, but to work on our soul. And so a shaman is a soul surgeon. And so I work hand in hand with therapists and doctors, and I have lots of them that come to me as well. I've been doing this for 30 years, and it really is overwhelming at this time because most people have problems. I don't know anybody that doesn't, but I would say, we all have problems and we all need to work on them. And we need a shortcut. We don't need to be sitting and talking to someone for 10 years. And we also don't need to be medicating ourselves as much. And getting rid of the cause of things is much better than dealing with the effects, including the emergencies, earthquakes, etc., that are happening.
And
we're not prepared. Shaman will. Mm-hmm.
And I've been going to you for years and you've been telling me about these things often, and it affects a lot of things, especially a lot of people in the entertainment industry. The things that we have to deal with, the problems that you don't know what's going on with everybody, it affects all the stuff that we really want to get accomplished.
Yes. I have many, many, many show business people, not only the star of the show, but also, and they need a lot of protection, but also the background people. And they also are touching your head. They're also healers as well. They're touching your face every day. So I'm clearing a lot of makeup artists and hairdressers, and a lot of them are award winners. And, sometimes I've got the producers and the writers of the shows. And sometimes I have all those people in one show, as well as the music industry as well. So everybody needs to work a little bit more on their heart and not to be so much of a narcissist. And sometimes you believe your own publicity, and here come the cameras, and here come the fans and the groupies and whatever. And so they kind of got lost, I would say, a lot of people who have come to me. And so what they're doing is really creating value in society more so than ever before. And they're not so addicted to things, and they're not, like just believing their own publicity.
Talk about Yodi and healing of animals. How important is that?
Well, the animals are very needed, and they have a soul too, and they are sacrificial karma cleaners. They are taking on our karma a lot of times, and the way I would explain karma is, say, for instance, the person suffers and struggles and sacrifices a lot. So the animals are licking away their tears and trying to make them feel better. And, so a lot of people bring in the animals so that they can also get a clearing. I do have many veterinarians and, people who work with the homeopathic part of helping animals, as well as people who clean their teeth. And I have so many animal trainers and horse people and cats and dogs. And,
I know.
Like I have them on my phone, and I have a picture of them, and I send healing and light to the animals. They look even so sad to me. They also can understand what their owners are going through. And I think sometimes people don't realize that animals also have a soul and are very important in our lives, very important, and that they actually can see things and feel things, and even they try to communicate with us. And they're becoming stars and on the front of magazines, and they're saving, lives, and they're just adorable. But we're beginning to really put more appreciation on treating them well and making sure that they survive, like even, the fish and all these whales and sharks and biting and, beaching themselves, and that's because of Fukushima and other reasons. There's so much toxins and poisons in the ocean now. All that has to change, and it's all coming up to the surface so we can see it. Otherwise, we'd never do anything about it. Animals are not lower creatures, lesser than us, and so this is how the world is changing, where there's so much more appreciation on healing a bird whose wing got broken, or, and that can make the front page of the news even. Everybody trying to help that bird. It's really kind of a wonderful change in the world that we're really honoring everything and everyone now.
Talk about Yodi. Why is Yodi important? And talk about some of your favorite movies, because when you have a movie like Ghost, and Whoopi Goldberg wins an Oscar for that, how far is that from the truth?
Not really that far. I would say, there's a little bit that's off in it, but it is actually what's going on in our lives. So I would say that was way ahead of its time, and people do remember it, and they do kind of relate to it and go back to it and think about it. I've been compared to her, and sometimes I think it's a compliment, and sometimes I don't, but the main thing is that there are ghosts around us, and they can possess you, so that's the part that perhaps they kind of left out, that they can, if you're wide open and stuff, sometimes they can enter your body. And this new movie that's out now, Ouija, those kinds of movies are kind of frightening to me. Even a Harry Potter movie, sometimes, they become so dark, and so the characters who are acting out these dark parts, sometimes they get drugged up, or they start even manifesting vampires and manifesting, serial killer energy within their bodies, or they play the devil, or they play, a voodoo or something like that type of role. It can be very, dangerous.
And a lot of them will come running to you, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So most of my clients don't get those type of roles, and I just encourage people to, be careful going to all these scary movies, because sometimes it's just a way of the negative forces telling you we're here. So and when I sit in the movie, I'm actually working on closing vortexes in that movie theater, because I can feel that stuff jumping on people. So I go to the movies, but sometimes, when it's real scary, I end up being a healer in the movie theater to protect the people.
How many shamans are presently, or qualified shamans? Let's be more specific. How many qualified shamans are there roughly practicing right now in the United States?
Not many. Not qualified. That was a good word that you used. But it's the same as a teacher, for instance. We didn't realize that there were that many people even in the government, or nurses, or, even doctors, and, people that we think as qualified, quote unquote, because they have a degree or a paper or a diploma. That matters not so much anymore. It's more the integrity. It's very important to have integrity in this work because, we're dealing with the spirit world, we're dealing with angels, we're dealing with light beings, we're dealing with the Creator, we're dealing with Mother Earth. And you cannot be shystery with people when you have that kind of gift. And so, as a result of it, a lot of people, the same thing as being this narcissist or being this power-hungry, greedy type of person, then what happens when you have the gift, it turns, and then it boomerangs back on the person. So there's a lot of shamans now that aren't even allowed to do the work in certain countries because they were, like fooling around with the girls and, doing all these things, telling people what they want to hear, and sometimes even soul stealers, or, in the ayahuasca field in Peru. People go over there, I want to try ayahuasca, but you have to be really careful that you're referred, to a person who has integrity. And because of the Internet, we can find people who have good ratings and things like that, and it's very important to check them out. And in my case, I don't take people right off the street. It's usually referrals. And it's just as important to the shaman that they don't get a lot of strange people. Like who comes to me needs to also have integrity. So it's a two-way street. And once, your soul is purified enough and you're clean enough and you know to do the right things, and say, for instance, I may not feel like it. I might not even like the person that much, but I give 100% regardless. But I would say not as many as I would like to see. I've gone to shaman conferences, and sometimes there's 250 of us, and maybe that property that we're on is getting ready to be foreclosed. So they'll look around, and they'll be kind of watching us for a week, and then they'll pull me out of the crowd and go, "You're the only one that can help." And I'm like, well, these people have bird outfits, and they're doing fire ceremonies, and, they have books out there, and why me? I'm in the background just being kind of humble and quiet, and they just go, "You're the one that can help us." And as Brian mentioned, the Yodi is one of the reasons as well, because I'm doing this ancient ceremony from 6th century Tibet that almost nobody on the planet is doing. And sometimes they can sense that, that the different ceremonies I do to clear the soul or clear property or clear animals, I do it in workshops. But I'm one of the only people on the earth that I know of that's doing it.
Wow.
And it's very precious, but you will find that a lot of shamans die out and don't leave their information to, their students. They die with the information. So that's why there's so few of us, because it's very powerful, very much in secret. And I'm just very lucky to have what I have and to have the training that I've had. But if I look around to try to find someone that I trust, it does take me years. And I do have a good group of people that I refer to other people, but it takes me a long time and a lot of searching.
Joy, describe real quickly. You have a workshop coming up this Sunday, and what do you want people to know about you that they might not know about you? And what are some of your favorite movies?
What I would like people to know is you can go on my website, and I think everybody needs to stay prayed up right now because of the weather changes and because of the economy changes, and there's just a lot of people who are reacting to it and, ripping off people, or one man just actually does a judo chop, and then he, knocks the girl out and takes her purse and runs off. So it's very important to stay prayed up, because when you have a good shield around you and you've got strong angels around you, that guy won't be coming towards you. And the earthquake won't even think about you. And your car will be intact, and your finances will be intact, and your job will be intact, or your love life, But the way it is now, there's just too much going on. So a person can come to my website, and it took me a long time to collect these prayers, and they're not real old-fashioned prayers. They're the kind of prayer that is, very powerful, and they work, and you can just download them on your phone. It doesn't cost a penny. It took me a lot of years. I went all over the world. I went to many mystery schools to learn these prayers and mantras and affirmations, and they work. So you can just go to my website, joyadelaney.net, and go on my homepage, and then there's words in pink, and the words say collective, the light collective, and you just press on those pink words, and then the prayers open up, and you can download them. And you can pick maybe 5, 3 that you really like. There's prayers in there for love, for abundance, for prosperity, for protection, to call on Archangel Michael, and he's one of my favorites. But you can definitely, break any contracts that you may have, and we do make promises and vows for eternity, and there's all these things that we inherit from our ancestors that we made, and these things do last, and they do incarnate with us, and they do still kind of linger within our soul. So those prayers will help you to cleanse yourself and stay prayed up and grounded. So I would say that's one of the most important things, that website is there for that purpose. If a person wants a session with me, then they just press the PayPal button, and I have a big sliding scale for people who can't afford it and people that can. Even my workshops are only $35. So they're the most intense workshop you're going to ever attend, because they're going to really, clean you real good from inside out. And if you're going to have a baby, you do not want, that child to be, autistic and all these different things and have diabetes. And, if we don't clean ourselves, then the kid inherits everything we've got. So before you conceive, stay prayed up and clean yourself and your soul so that the baby is good. You got an angel, an earth angel. The same thing with marriage, to find the divine mate, you've got to be pretty much in love with yourself first. And you got to get rid of some of that childhood stuff. So, these are things that you can do on your own or with my help in a sliding scale way over the phone even. I'm just as strong over the phone as I am in person. I'm older now, so I'm getting ready to put out a book so that I can relax just a little bit. And that book is very enlightening about not only my life, but they can find out, who I am, because it is a very unusual story. I find myself even very interesting as I'm writing. So next year, that book will be out about spring, and it's called The Beverly Hills Shaman, Joy of the Beverly Hills Shaman. So those are things they'll find out when they read the book. But it is really an interesting journey to be around all these show business people and people who have not an inch of spirituality, but they'll come to me for me to help them grow. And I've got people that come in to have $50 million, and they're not the happiest person in the world, which is really interesting. You would think money makes a person happy. It does not. It does not buy a lot of things. It just buys possessions, but it doesn't buy those things that are important to the soul.
Give me a couple movies, and what are you watching these days?
Well, there's so much Netflix, and there's so many movies that you can just watch right on the TV with cable, so I don't find myself going as much to the show as I used to. And they've got these bargain days where you can go and, see different things. So I have also a very active Facebook, and I have a lot of celebrities on there. So they send, messages about their movies, and so I end up kind of going along with them. Say, for instance, Boris Kodjoe, so Addicted, I just like him a lot, just the kind of person that he is. I love Denzel, so anything he does, I'm going to run to it. There's Gone Girl. I love Ben Affleck, and all of them are, posting on my site all the time, so I usually go and see what's going on with them and their movies, because, they're already telling me even ahead of the time, this is what I'm going to be in, this is what I'm working on, so I like to see the end results. I do feel The Rock is doing quite well. He's another one, and so I just watch, their work, and then I run see what their work is all about. But they do tell us in advance on Facebook, what they're doing and where they're going to be, and sometimes there's previews, and you get to meet them in person, and so those are my favorite right now, the Addicted and the Denzel new movie, and The Rock, and I like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So didn't everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I could go on and on. I do think that Brad Pitt is going to do really, really well. Uma Thurman, even Beyonce is going to start doing movies and doing really well. I know people need to think she needs to sit down, but Beyonce is not going to stop. And also Oprah is going to do something big with a movie in the future, as well as, and she's not going to stop. And her own, that's going to do even better, because it really is geared to help people, and she's going to be, the light worker in the future that does not stop. Angelina Jolie is not going to stop or sit down either, especially as a director. And Lucy Liu is going to do great. I love Jennifer Lawrence, anything that she's in. Reese Witherspoon is going to do great. I like John Wick, that movie that's coming in now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Joy. We appreciate you calling, and I got to have you come in one of these days because you have a lot of information. And give you a website.
Yes, as you can see, I'm a little overkill maybe because I'm talking so fast, but I'm just trying to get in as much as I can.
Give you a website. Give your Twitter account. That's very, very important.
Well, I'm just Shaman Joya or Joya Delaney on Facebook. I don't Twitter too much. I don't do too many pictures and stuff. I do a lot of talking and a lot of kind of like little predictions, like just keep your bag ready. So the getaway bag, because Californians don't really think much about it, but you really need to have your little bag packed. And again, I give you ways to kind of put some energy into the ground because we have been kind of shaken here.
Yeah. Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you Sunday, that's for sure, because I need it. Thank you so much, Joya. So,
absolutely fascinating.
She's a great person. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for her.
Absolutely fascinating.
Especially all the stuff that goes on with all of us animals, especially our animals. So,
yes, I know that.
Yes, we all know that, don't we? Let's get to one more movie real quick.
Okay, well, we got time for one more. Let's talk about White Bird in a Blizzard.
I liked it.
Shailene Woodley. It is an amazing film. It's beautifully shot.
Greg Acker.
Greg
today.
I'm telling you. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. He's the man that brought us Kaboom, which was another eye-popping, kaleidoscopic, hallucinogenic, joyride, actually. White Bird, it's, Kat Connors, played by Shailene, 17 years old. Her mother is supposedly perfect. She's one of those 1950s perfect housewives. Mother is played by Ava Green, married to Chris Maloney.
Yep.
This is the second pairing of Maloney and Green this year, the first being Sin City 2. And I had a chance to ask Chris at the recent press day for White Bird, what is this thing with he and Ava on screen?
I think the roles that we got for each movie were pretty spectacular. Our relationships for each movie were very interesting and unique. Well, maybe not let's say unique. I got a slice of her in the Sin City 2. That was exciting. I didn't get much for this movie, but I'm hoping to write that into my next contract that I get to work with Shailene again. But I don't know. I thought our relationship in this movie was very interesting. I found it very difficult because we could never quite connect, and I found that very frustrating and integral to the whole character and the process and what it was. But it was very lonely. But as a person, she was awesome.
And the performances of both Chris and Ava are awesome in the film as Thomas Jane, who pops up as a detective investigating the disappearance of Mom, Ava Green. And as you watch it, you'll see twists and turns abound, big reveals, great supporting cast with Gabourey Sidibe and Mark Indelicato. Mark is all grown up now.
Yep.
People may remember him from Ugly Betty.
Uh-huh.
So it's a beautifully shot film. It's a lot of fun, and the big reveal in the film will just have you falling out of your seat in the aisle in disbelief.
I personally think this is his best film. That's me.
I think it is Chris's best film, and it was nice to see Shailene in this role. So many people have just seen her in Fault in Our Stars. We've seen her, recently in Divergent. Now we're getting ready for Insurgent and the next in the series. So this is a nice, dramatic turn that she can do. That's really age appropriate for her demographic. Then there's also two fun movies. One I love. Lynn Shelton directs Laggies. Laggies is just so much fun. Keira Knightley, Chloe Grace Moretz, Sam Rockwell, Mark Webber, Caitlin Dever. Caitlin, we sprung to the forefront last year with Spectacular Now with Miles Teller. Keira is 25-year-old going through a midlife crisis before her wedding to Mark Webber's character, Anthony. She stumbles upon a 16-year-old girl and her friends one night and decides she's going to hide for a week and hides out in the house of a 16-year-old friend played by Chloe Grace Moretz. Dad is played by Sam Rockwell, and I got to tell you, in typical Lynn Shelton fashion, she's got the sparks flying with Rockwell and Knightley, and it's a fun film.
Well, we got through a lot of films today.
We did.
John Wick for me, and Citizen 4 for me.
Well, Citizen 4 is definitely a film people need to see. They should see it. I may not agree with the presentation and some of the issues of it, but the material is very important.
All right. From Movie Shark the Blower, Debbie Lynn, Elias, this is Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week for our Halloween show.
Yes, we will. And don't forget, Cabaret is alive and well living in L.A. this weekend.
And theactorsfund.org. See you next week.